So when you said when you went to the court clerk guy, you said that you'd had it recorded for 2 hours?
Yeah. It was pretty much 2 hours. So the guy at the clerk went back and forward. And then I said to him, can you bring this woman out? I want to speak to her. And then he went back in, came back out.
You require.
I require. He went back in, and she kept saying no, and came back out. And I said, he said, and he started talking about something else. I said, it's interesting how you're not answering my question. I said, why can't she come out? Yeah, and I said, what, is she chicking? And I started laughing, and my kids started laughing, and then he started laughing. I said, do me a favor, don't tell me anything else. I don't know what she's told you to come out here. I just want to see her. Go back in there and tell her to come out. Then he went back in about another 2 times, and he said, look, I can't keep going back in there. She keeps telling me she's not coming out. I said, okay, that's fine. I said, right, now do me a favor, go get me an N1 form. And he said, what's an N1 form? And I go back in there and ask her. He went in there, asked her, she got an N1 form, came back out. I said, brilliant. So how do you spell her name again? And then I started writing it in. And he said, what are you doing? I goes, well, I've already warned her in March. I think it's, March 17th and the 7th of April that I said I'd prosecute her if she doesn't start limiting my access to justice. She's always infringing that right. So I've already warned her, and guess what? She's doing it. And now I'll have to come all the way down here because she can't be bothered to answer my letters, and now I have to do this. So now I've got no choice. I've even given her the opportunity to come out and explain to me, and she doesn't want to do it. Fine, that's okay. So I'll just fill it out. So I started filling it out, and then he sort of looked at me and thought, no, he's bluffing. And I went, okay. Then I went in where it says the claim, and I started filling that out. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I've already told you what I'm doing. I'm filling out the form. I'm going to prosecute her. And he said, I said, well, it's up to you. I've warned you, and I'm guessing you went in there and told her, but she didn't want to know. That's fine. Then she can tell the judge. Then he said, oh, hang on a minute, and then took my claim form. Then he went into the back, and I thought, well, he's probably going to show her. She probably won't come back out. Lo and behold, on the 5th time, she comes out. And I thought, oh, that's really nice of you to come out. So I had a conversation with her, and she explained why she couldn't answer them. And I said, okay, that's nice. But I said, all I need to do is have access to this paperwork. I said, you can't expect me to turn up to a trial when I have no clue what's in that file. And she goes, it's the same stuff that you've already been sent. I said, that's really nice. But so far, my experience says that occasionally some bits of information can go missing, doesn't reach me. I know that. That's just what the nature of posting things are. Occasionally something doesn't reach there. So just to double check that, before I hold myself completely liable by turning up to the trial, I need access to that. I need to make sure everything that I've got is everything that you've got. And she just said no, and I said, why not? She said, oh, you tell me about a CPR rule, and I said, well, what CPR rule? She said, go get a solicitor, and I said, what's a solicitor? Don't know, haven't got a clue what that is. She said, look, I can't make this decision. It has to be done by a judge. So she said, I can put it forward towards the judge, and he can make the decision whether he allows you. And I said, I'm not asking him anything. I said, your colleague said that it's my file. I want access to my file. I don't care about your file. I've got my file to look at. And she just looked at me and she said, but I don't have the ability to do that. I said, sorry, say that again. And she said, I don't have the ability to do that. I guess, sorry, I thought you were listings officer. You're a bit of a middle manager. You don't have the ability to look in the file. And she said, I do, but you don't. I said, right. So now you're just infringing my right to access justice. This is what I wrote to you before. And then she just tried to back in and out. We had a little bit of a laugh and a joke. Then I said, right, okay, so you're saying to me that your job role says that you can't do this. And she said, yeah. I said, okay, that's fine. So give me a name of somebody who is then. Whose role is it? And then she said, oh, it'll be the manager above. And I said, oh, okay. In fact, how many managers above are you? And she said, there's 3 managers above me. And I said, brilliant. Who's the top guy? And said the name. And I said, all right, okay. So, you know what? If you can't do anything for me today, I'm already here. I've come down here. I'm not going anywhere until I've had this done. And she goes, we close in 1 hour. I said, that's not my problem. I'm not going from here until I get it resolved. And she said, well, you know, you can always put it in writing. And I said, what, like you? And for 6 months later, you can't bother to respond. And she said, oh, okay, but maybe I should have. And I said, yeah, that's right, you should have. I guess you should have common courtesy. Somebody writes to you, okay, one's a mistake. And I guess I wrote to you loads of times. I think there's 5 times in all that I wrote to her. And she said, okay, well, this name. And I said, brilliant. Okay, so this name, call her down. And she said, oh, she works across different courts. And I said, oh, that's nice. And I said, why are you telling me that for? And she said, well, she's not here. And I said, no. You were about to say that she may not be here, but you just said she isn't here. So either she is or she isn't. And then they said, oh, she isn't here. And I said, well, a minute ago you were saying maybe, and now you're saying isn't. So why don't you go back in there before you give me another answer, and you double check it. So then she walked off, came back and said, oh, she's not at her office, so she's either not here or she's at a different court. And I said, okay, well, go back in there. You should be able to look in her diary and tell me where she is. If she's in a different city, then tell me, and then I'll drive right there now. And then she came back out and said, oh, no, she is in the building. I said, brilliant. Now she's in the building. Now call her. Go get her and bring her out here. And maybe she has the capacity to answer my questions. I just need real basic stuff. Why can't I get access to this file? Why is it such a palaver? And then she said, oh, but she's busy. And I said, okay, that's fine, I'll wait. And she said, oh, she's with a VIP. And I said, oh. And then I started making fun. And I goes, well, surely I'm a VIP. If I'm not a VIP, how do I become a VIP? And she said, oh, it's an MP. And I said, oh, another public servant? I said, so what, the public servants are higher than me? And then she just like looked at me and thought, I didn't even answer. And then I started laughing. Even I started laughing. We both had a laugh and a joke. Then I said, right, I'm going to stand here. I'm not going to move from here until you go get me this woman. And she said, well, she might be some time. And I said, that's fine. I goes, if I get bored, there's a canteen on the next floor down. I goes, I'll either be there or I'll be standing right here. I'm not going anywhere. And she walked off. And then I waited there and I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to write a letter to this lady as well. So she might not come out. So I told her why I was upset, why I didn't get access to my own stuff, why was that, wrote this letter down. I wrote it out, pen and paper, right there and then. Took a photo of it so I had my own records of roughly what I wrote to her. And I put it on the table and I thought, oh, no, nobody's even here. Friday night, it's dead. Then it got to about half an hour before closing time. And then I thought, you know what, I'll just shove it on the desk and I'll go downstairs to the canteen. And then, lo and behold, this lady popped up. And I said, hello. And she was the court manager, the top lady.
Yeah.
And she was interesting. She's nice
that's
lady.
funny. That's great, man. So and you have this all recorded. That the lady was saying that she's not.
I got everything. I got it all, man.
It's great.
It was just so funny. But yeah, she was a nice lady, to be fair. And she was explaining
they're all
to me
nice,
her.
Man. They're all somebody's mama. They're all somebody's sister. They're all nice.
Even the other lady, she was nice. The young guy was funny. I had fun with him because he just didn't know whether he was coming or going. And in the end, he was laughing and joking about the stuff he was saying. He wasn't believing what he was saying.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. Oh, that was funny. But yeah, the lady came down and she was explaining, trying to explain stuff. And I said, look, no offense. And I said, I don't know you from Adam. I don't know. And I goes, I've had some good experiences in this court. I've had some bad experiences. I can't tell who the liar is and who the honest guy is. I don't know. And I goes, you can't tell that about me either. I can't tell that about you. So I said, right, let's start again. Right, I came here and I wrote for months and months to your colleague and she didn't respond. And she said, okay, I'll admit that straight away. That's wrong. She should have responded to you. And I said, yeah. I said, common courtesy. I goes, I don't know what your policies are, but I said, if somebody writes me a letter and I can't answer it, I write a letter back saying I can't understand it. I can't do this. I can't do that. Or I'm not sure how to action this. I said, she didn't write anything to me. So I said, that either made me think that she didn't exist, I'm writing to the wrong person, I don't know what's going on. And then she said, okay, I apologize for that. And I said, okay, that's fine. So I said, right, now she says that she can't answer my questions. And she said she can't let me have access to my file. Why is that? And she said the same thing, that had to go through a judge. She didn't have the capacity. And I said, okay, so you're a court manager? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, what exactly is your job role if it isn't there to uphold the administration side? And she said, oh, no, I just look after the building. I said, what, you do painting? You change locks? What, you sweep the floor? And she started laughing, and she said, no, it's a bit more complicated than that. I said, okay, well, you tell me then. And she said, no, I'm not going through my job description. I said, well, if you're not going to say it to a member of the public, how do I even know that you're even the court manager? And then she started laughing, and I said, you understand where I'm coming from? I said, every time I come here, sometimes I get good stuff and sometimes I get bad. I don't have the time for this silly joke anymore. I guess it's not funny anymore. I guess I've got a trial, and I don't want to be held liable for something that I cannot see. So I need to know, make sure that I've seen every single document that you're about to judge me on. And she said, well, it's going to be scheduled for a judge, for a hearing in front of a judge where you can request, is her word, to see the court file. And I said, oh, that's nice. So at what point are we going to tell me about that then? And she said it was on the 28th of July that week. And I said, oh, that's nice, but when were you going to tell me that? Because, you know, we're getting closer and closer there. If you haven't written that letter in the next week, I said, you literally give me a day or two notice. Yeah, and she said, yeah, I'm ever so sorry. What I'll do is I'll speak to my colleague and make sure she gives it as soon as possible, and she contacts you to let you know you can make it there. And I said, that's brilliant, thank you. But I said, what I want to know is, why do I have to go to the judge? Why do I have to wait? And she found those answers uncomfortable. She couldn't answer them. And I said, why you saying that I cannot access my file? Whose data are you protecting? Because there's nobody's data except for mine. The only data that's in there, names, are council officials, of which they give their council address, not their home address. So there's nobody's, and she said, oh, maybe, well, it's in the Crown Court, so it must be quite serious. So I haven't looked at your file particularly, but, you know, maybe there's other witnesses. I said, there is none. There's nothing there. There's no one there. I said, even your own judge laughed and joked and said, had somebody been raped, had somebody been murdered? And it was a complete joke. So I said, if that's what your judge said, and all I want is audio file, and then they said, no, you can't have an audio file, you can have transcription. I said, again, you keep saying this. And I've already told you, sometimes I get good service and sometimes I get bad. So the only way I know 100%, hand on heart, that it's honest and true is by listening to the voice tape. So I've already had experience from your office that cannot seem to write what the judge says and type it and send it to me. I've got proof of that. I know it doesn't exist, or sometimes it goes wrong. So rather than listening it through a third party, I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I want to hear it. And she said, okay, well, I know what you're saying. I don't think you'll get it, but you can request the judge to get it. And I said, okay, well, that's going to be very fun.
Did you at any time tell her the word require?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She said, that's not in my job role. I can't give it you. She said, my job role is literally to look after the building, manage the people, but not to, she goes, we've got a strict criteria of what I'm allowed to give, and anything that's illegal or providing information has to go through a judge. She goes, I can't make that judgment by myself.
Okay, then why did you tell her to take me straight away to the judge?
It was 5 o'clock.
What's that?
Hadn't they already gone? It was 5 o'clock. They were already gone.
Get the on-duty judge.
I did ask about this on-duty judge, and apparently this court, remember I was asking you about this before, and I kept writing to the court saying, you've got to have an on-duty judge. There has to be somebody there in case there's a murder and somebody needs to be, you know, put in jail for a while until pending a case or something. And she said, no, there isn't one. She said, the building's open, there is no, and I said, okay, maybe I'm not using the right word. Okay, on duty, on call, you know, somebody who's, in case of an emergency, you ring up. And I said, we had London riots, so how did you call them? And they said, oh, well, that was actually just ringing around the judges and we paid them kind of overtime, and they turned up. And I said, great, do that. And she said, no, she won't do it for you. And I said, why? Mine's urgent. And I said, theirs isn't less urgent than mine? And she said, well, that's not for me to decide. She goes, that was other judges who made that decision. And I thought, okay, you've been going around in circles here. Somebody made the decision, and I said, who's looking after my record and file? Who's the responsible man or woman? Give me their name. And I said, is it you then, because you're the court manager? And she said, no, it's not me. I don't deal with that sort of stuff. And I said, okay, who looks after the database? Who looks after my record? And she said, well, we all do. And I said, well, no, one individual must be assigned to it. It has to be verified to make sure that nobody else slips paperwork in there, either me or them. Yeah. And then they said, oh, no, the ultimate person responsible is the judge. I said, well, how can the judge be responsible? Does he sleep next to my file? And she said, no. And I said, oh, so he can't be responsible. He must have gone home by now. It's 5 o'clock. And she went, yeah. So I said, great. So there's nobody guarding my paperwork. And she went, no. And I said, oh, my God. I goes, this just gets worse. And then she started laughing. And then there was a whole load of her employees that were walking past, waving at her, laughing and joking, saying, ha, you're stuck with the crazy guy. And I started laughing. She started laughing. And I said, I'm not even going to say anything about what they just said or what they were kind of waving and making fun of her.
Did you just ask her something? So anywhere along the line,
yeah?
Did you ask her if the Crown came in right now, the Crown, the barrister, the Crown solicitor, the Crown attorney, came in and asked him that he needs access to the case file, would you be doing this bullshit to him?
No, I didn't say that.
See how simple that would have been?
That probably would have helped. Because you know and I know, when we see the Crown barristers go in there, they go into the back, they get full access, they get stamps, they're allowed all access. So actually, yeah, that's probably one I should have said, actually.
Oh, I guarantee you. That's the first thing I say. That's the first thing I go up to those clowns about. I say to them, what are you saying? Are you interfering with my right to access the court? This is a public courthouse, right? Am I not the public? Yes. Oh, I think I proved that when I went over the court of the Royal Courts of Justice. I'm going to go in any damn room I want. Why? Because would you tell the Queen that she couldn't go into her court? Well, no, of course not. We'd let Queen Elizabeth go in any damn room here. Well, then why can't I? Well, what room in particular? Well, what room in particular do you want to go to? I want to go to the room where the off-duty judge is. A call duty, an on-duty judge. I want to go into that room. I want to go and meet that magistrate. Do some paper filing for me. They go, okay, we'll do it for you. I said, okay, fine. It's that simple. You've got to be able to explain to them, is that simply. If they're allowed to access this building, why am I not allowed to? And they'd have to say, well, you're just a member of the public. Oh, really? Is this a public courthouse or is this a private institution? They say it's public. Well, then public building, public, guess what? I'm public, it's my building.
It really stumps them when you say that. I was laughing when I was saying it.
Yeah, because you say, look at them and say, are you not a public servant? Yes, then go serve me. Are you refusing to serve your public? You are a servant of the public. If you do not want to serve me, what are you doing in this public building? Why don't you just go home?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what you got to get done. Is this a private? Right. Is this a private institution? Is this a private building? Direct me to the public courthouse, please. This is the public courthouse. Oh, good, lovely. Then I'm the public, right? Yes, and you're a public servant, right? Would you like the public, to tell you to go home because you won't do your job? I'll get somebody in here who will do your job. If you won't give me access to that room, I'll get somebody else in here who will give me access to that room. Well, you know what? I'll self-serve.
Self-serve.
Are you telling me I can't go back to where the files are kept? Why not? Well, is this a public courthouse? Yeah. Okay, is that a public filing system? Yeah. Does the public pay for that? Yeah, I'm the public. I pay for it. You tell me I can't have access to my own property? You tell me that you tell me what I can and cannot have? You see what I'm saying? You got to start going around with that logic with them. Just simple logic. instead of talking to them for 2 hours. It's like if the other side wanted to come here and have complete access to this case file, how would you stop them? It's like, well, we wouldn't. Well, why not? Maybe there's a witness in there that I put in there that I don't want them to see.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a witness that I want to surprise them when they get to court.
Yeah. You know what? I had this other funny thought. Originally, when we went into the magistrate's court, when it all started, and I asked to speak in that case, and they said, no, he doesn't get rights of access. My father's the one who's the defendant, and I had no rights of audience because I wasn't being summoned. Yeah, and then I thought, okay, that's fine. Fine, I'll sit down. I don't want to be, because I asked for rights of audience, and they just said no. And I said, okay, that's fine. This is before you turned up. Then in March, when I went to see this listings officer in the Crown, and she said to me, she said, you're not the guy. And I said, no, that's right. I'm the son. And she said, in fact, she said it recently. She said, I don't even know why you're here because you're not the defendant. Your father is. And I said, yes, but you can clearly see in the file that he doesn't read and write English. What's the point of him being here? Yeah? What's the point? So you can look at him. Yeah, you know what? He's got better things to do than just you looking at him. But the other funny point was that she said in that file, she said there was an order in there for no rights of audience for me. And I was thinking, if there's an order in there, because I don't remember an order, and I certainly weren't sent an order. He just told me I had no rights of audience. But if it's written in that file that I have an order that I had to be quiet or not, no rights of audience. Now, a year, 2 years have gone by, and I've been complying with this order, and happily, merrily, but I've never been sending any bills, and I haven't seen the order. So the first thing I want to do is see this order. I want to see it signed. If it ain't signed, then I want rights of audience.
Was where did they said there was an order in there for you not to be able to speak?
Yeah, she said there's an order in there, and it says that I don't have rights of audience. I'm not allowed to talk in the court. Which I thought, okay. I knew I wasn't allowed to talk because I wasn't the defendant, but if there's an order in there, well, hang on, why the hell hasn't that order been sent to me? And I'm happy to do orders all day long. In fact, inadvertently, I've done it for 2 years, racking up expenses, as I would call it, or bills. So I think it's time that the bills need to be sent out. So I need to see this order.
Yeah, because they summons you to appear at all, or they just always summons your dad?
They always summons my dad. But when I tried to talk, they said no rights of audience. And months later, when I asked, and they said no, there's in that file is a order that says that I don't have rights of audience. Only my father is the defendant. Only he's allowed to talk.
Yeah.
So I thought, brilliant, because I never got that document. So that's another example of a document that it's on the file, but I have no visibility of.
Yeah. Well, I guess, like I said, I guess you're going to have to, what I would do then is every time you go down to the court, I'd drag your dad down there.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be that.
You have to
get him to take a damn day off.
Drag your dad down there. And like I said, let him just speak Punjabi to you, and you translate it in as close to English as you thought you heard him say. No, I require, not required.
I think it's going to be quite funny.
Yeah, I say, well, the other side has the right to access this. If this barrister, there's the barrister right there. He's going in the room right now. Oh, look, I bet he's accessing my file right now. Why can't I come in right behind him and access it as well? That's what he just said. He said, let's go get a ham and club sandwich after this is over. And you said, you translated it to read, hey, there goes the barrister right now, my dad said. That, why does he have access and I do not? Why can't I go in there too?
We have this unusual language, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You and him.
No means yes.
Right, the translator could have thought he said, give me a ham and Swiss sandwich on rye. But no, he really said, it's our own unique language between me and my dad. We got a unique language. Our family is, we that guy speaks a different dialect of Punjabi.
Very, very regional. Very regional.
Very, very, very regional. I'm sorry, there's the same living room that me and my dad come from.
It just gets funny. Funny.
Well, that's how you got to play it, man. I mean, you're going to have to play dirty pool like they do, man.
Yeah.
They're not going to make it easy for you. They're not going to make it easy for you, so don't make it easy for them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pay another visit. I'm not going to wait for this hearing thing. They called it a pre-trial hearing, and I thought, okay. But the last time I saw a pre-trial hearing was, after you left, they said, we'll do a trial in end of January. And then we're getting closer and closer and closer. And then they said, you wrote a letter, and we're just going to discuss about the letter. So I got a letter 1 week before saying, it's now changed from a trial to a pre-trial hearing. And then what they did was they said, okay, yeah, we'll delay it for 6 months.
Yeah.
So now I've got another pre-trial hearing coming, and I'm thinking, well, hang on, is that something because I'm initiating it or something that you're initiating?
Right. Oh, the big thing you guys are going to have to do, too, is with you and your dad, you're going to have to get him to explain to him when some guy in a black robe on a bench tells him to go in a box, your dad's going to have to yell out, "Give me the order, sir."
Yeah.
Make it an order.
Lots of orders, thank you.
Right. Give me an order. Order me to do so, sir. And then as soon as he gives an order to do so, tell your dad to write down that the man named Bob ordered me in a box. An invoice. Bring you one of your own little invoice pads.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
You ordered to the box. The judge would be like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm taking your invoice. I'm taking your order. Creating an invoice."
You just gave me the other case. That was so hilarious, man.
Yeah, you just gave me an order invoice. So we're creating an invoice. Is there anything else you wish us to do? Because, like I said, the big thing is, like I said, you have to understand, and I don't know how hard it is or easy it is for your dad to understand, is that they are going to try to say that, they're going to say Balraj is a defendant. Like Balraj is no defendant. Balraj is a man.
Yep.
Balraj is no defendant. He's not defending himself. He's not a defendant to any wrong. No man has made a claim that I, have done wrong. I am not a defendant. I have nothing to defend. I have done no wrong. I'm a man.
Yep.
If you order me to stand, order me. If you order me in a box, order me. Order me to stand. Order I, a man, to stand. Not ordering a defendant. You're ordering a man. And like I said, I did that with my sister, man, before she went to court, because I knew she did not practice. And I told us kids, can you just get off your mom's, stop, hanging on to your mom for 3 days. Right. So I could teach her. And since I couldn't teach her, I said, you know what, fine. Monday morning I wrote something really simple. And just said, if there's any order created today, whoever places the order is going to be held liable for the order. Just that simple. So like I said, your dad could just hand in the piece of paper, just that simple. So then the judge will say to himself, I better not fucking place any orders today, because I'm going to be held liable for the order. Because there is no Balraj man. There is no Balraj defendant in front of you. There's a Balraj man. There is no Balraj defendant. Like I said, you already gave them the notice that any claim of wrong is to be brought forth before the Queen's bench.
Yep.
That's simple. And as far as you're aware, there's no Queen's bench trial going on. If there is a Queen's bench trial going on, lovely. Let's do this. And they say, yes, this is Queen's bench. Oh, good. Then who's that standing over there? That's Barrister Smith. No, you mean it's Joe Smith. You mean it's a man. We're in Queensbench now. Remember? Only man speaks?
Only man speaks.
And to be like, oh, yeah, I guess Bali did finally figure it out. It's that simple. The other one that speaks in Queensbench is man. There is no admiral. There is no general. There is no lord. There is no knight. There is no sir. It's a man.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's why you got to get a transcript of that barrister, the magistrate telling the barrister, there is no officers allowed in Queensbench.
Yeah.
And I don't know. To me, I have no idea why you didn't get that so fast. Like I said, everybody on the planet Earth wants to hear that. I mean, the one lady did send me something today that said the judge kept saying, there is no plaintiff. The plaintiff will not appear. And she actually sent me the audio tape of it. Like the audio transcript. I was like, holy crap. I said, this is going to be great. I said, I want to put this, and I just wrote a letter back to her, an email back to her saying, hey, instead of making me look around on his WAV file to find exactly when the judge said this, can you give me a hint of like what time on this thing that the judge actually said there is no plaintiff will appear? If there's no plaintiff, you don't have a complete court. The court's got to be complete. The plaintiff has to appear at least, if they don't appear at the beginning, they have to at least appear during sentencing. They have to appear somewhere along the line. If the plaintiff doesn't make an appearance at least for like just a moment, it's all bullshit. It's like you're just making this up. It's like you're making a claim in somebody else's name. Like you're making a claim for, I'm trying to think of somebody like Princess Diana. She's dead. Well, Princess Diana's the plaintiff. It's like, I'd like to see her before this court. Don't you worry about that. When she needs to appear, she'll appear. She better appear sometime between the beginning and the end. Because if she doesn't appear at the end, you didn't have a complete court. You didn't have a full court. You had a defendant, possibly. You had a judge, okay. Now where's the plaintiff? So this court was never assembled. Or not properly assembled, because there was a piece missing. Like how could you have a tennis court without the net? Or how could you have a basketball court without the ball? Yep. There's a piece missing of the court. There's a part of the court missing. A very important part. I mean, it's not a full court. You see what I'm saying? Just little simple logic like that. And it drives them crazy but they're not going to mention it if you don't mention it.
Yep.
They're going to be happy they could get away with it.
Nobody will notice is the order of the day.
No, but nobody says anything about it. They'll just, but when somebody does say something, they all look at each other like somebody just farted. Like, fuck, nobody's asked us this. Where do we go from here? I don't know. What the hell do we do now? I don't fucking know.
That was the one, a similar one that I said in that Cornwall against those 3 commissioners and those 5 barristers. And the judge was, the accuser can't appear because the accuser's the crown. Well, who's the crown? The crown, the queen, Elizabeth, such and such. Okay, that's nice. You've given me about 10 names. So any one of them going to turn up? No. So what is that then? Who's going to appear? She's the queen. Okay.
Who told you it was Elizabeth?
Hey?
Who said it was Elizabeth?
The judge did.
You said, see, this is what you got to do.
He said about 3 different names for the crown. He said crown. No. Oh, no, he didn't say the Queen Elizabeth. He said Crown, Regina, and I think he said one other thing.
Her Royal Majesty. It's usually it's either Her Royal Majesty, the Crown, or Regina.
Yeah, I think it was Queen, Crown, Regina.
Yeah, no, they usually don't mention the Queen. They usually just say Her Royal Majesty. It's like, but it's not Elizabeth Windsor, right?
No, it would never be her.
Right, it's never Elizabeth Windsor. I want to know if it's Elizabeth Windsor.
Yeah.
Because if she's suing me, she has to appear. If she's saying I did something wrong to her, she's got to appear.
I've always fancied having a cup of tea with the Queen.
Yeah. Like I said, she's just a public servant. She should be glad to meet her public.
Yeah.
She's there at the will of the public. She's there because the public wills it. She's only a servant to the people. You can put that stuff, blows that way or something like that. But like I said, she just, serves at the pleasure of the people. So it would please, you as a people for her to appear. Like I said, the judge is just making it up. He knows it's the Bar Association. He knows there is no crown per se. He says there is no royal family member who's going to show up.
They've assumed and taken over that role.
Yeah, he's just making it up. Like he's dead on, saying like this, it's Regina. Like, Regina who? There's 3 million Reginas in Italy alone. Which Regina in particular from Italy is going to show up? Regina is a very popular name in Italy. Great. Which one of those Reginas said I did wrong to her? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which one of those Reginas is making a claim?